People ask me what it's like to be a famous writer, and I can tell you that it's a very uncomfortable thing to be a famous writer. I'm a Red Sox fan, and a couple of years ago, and I like the New Orleans Saints, not as well as but not quite as long as I like the New England Patriots. What a way to kill a crowd, right? When I went to Fenway Park a couple of years ago, my son said to me that he was tired of this people coming up and saying, "Can I have your autograph?" or "Are you Stephen King?" when they know God in. Well, I am Stephen King. So he had given me these clip-on sunglasses, and I'd grown a mustache as well. And I went in, this little 8-year-old kid says, "Look, Ma, it's Stephen King in sunglasses." But we're actually supposed to be secret agents, you know. We're supposed to be kind of like stealth guys, fly under the radar guys. We're supposed to be looking at what you do so that we can reproduce it in prose. And it's very strange to get that recognition. And the first time that it ever happened to me, in the old days, there used to be these things called newspapers. You probably, a lot of you younger people don't remember newspapers. But they were these things a boy brought them to your house and threw them on your porch. But they used to sponsor writers, and publishers would put together these tours where they would take 2 or 3 different writers and they would go around to a number of different cities. And I got on one of these tours. I just written my 3rd novel. It's called The Shining. Oh man, you guys are great. At the Q&A, somebody will say, "Play Freebird." I forgot what the hell I was doing.
Newspapers.
I'm having a Rick Perry moment. So I was on Freebird. I can remember my first beer too. So I was on a tour with a writer named Jerzy Kosinski, who's now passed on, and Kitty Kelly, who just written a tell-all book about Frank Sinatra. And we went around to, you know, mid-level cities like Cleveland and Kansas City, places like that. Not first-class towns like New Orleans. But the idea behind this was you were supposed to scarf all the media that you possibly could. And then you went to dinner. The newspaper would put on a dinner where Jerzy Kosinski used to say they served beige food. It's always rubber chicken or rubber fish. So we were doing Pittsburgh, and we did AM Pittsburgh, and we did midday Pittsburgh, where you're between the Karate Kids, you know, 10-year-olds, and the celebrity chef who's making something, and then you come on and you get 5 minutes and you talk about your book, and the bottom line's always the same at your bookstore now. So we did all that, and then we went to the dinner, and I got Montezuma's Revenge. It's hard to put this delicately, but basically everything either went out the ejection chute or somewhere else. And I felt really terrible. The restaurant was at the top of something that was called the Incline, and there was no way down until the thing was over. And I had to run to the restaurant, which was this beautiful Babylonian chamber with, I'm not kidding you, it had marble floors and it had columns. It had one of those washroom attendants, you know, it's the law that they have to be 100 years old. Just these little tiny, wizened, shriveled up guys with got a towel and they got a little change things. The only thing that this beautiful, splendid bathroom didn't have were doors on the stalls. I have no idea why, but I was beyond caring about such things. I rushed in there, and it was really sort of a low point of the tour for me. There I was, in the bathroom. I was missing my wife, I was missing my kids. I just felt that I could go no lower until the washroom attendant turned toward me and his old eyes lit up. And he said, "Aren't you Stephen King?" He said, "I saw you on AM Pittsburgh." And I said, "Yes, I was Stephen King." And then he takes a pad. I'll tell you what, that's the only shithouse autograph I ever gave. And the other thing that happens if you're a writer is that it's a kind of a quasi thing. You're more famous for your name than you are for your face, no matter how many morning shows that you do. So a lot of times people will kind of recognize me. They know that they're seeing somebody that they should know. And in those cases, most cases, people will walk up to me and say, "Aren't you Steven Spielberg?" And I say, "Yes." And they tell me how much they like Jaws and I tell them how much I enjoy those pictures myself. I sign the autographs if they want. I'm very accommodating. I'm wound up to try and make people happy. When I was a kid, my mother used to say, "Stephen, if you were a girl, you'd always be pregnant." I didn't talk until I was 3, and after that, my grandfather used to say, "Stevie opens his mouth and all his guts fall out." The first time that I was ever recognized at all, I was in Nathan's Hot Dogs in New York. I stopped in to get a hot dog, and I'm chowing on a hot dog, and I looked through the pass-through to the kitchen, and the cook's looking at me, and he sees me looking at him, and then he's right back, and he's cooking, he's cooking. This is about 30 years ago, when I was actually, you know, I had dark hair, and I had a big beard with no gray in it. And I looked back and he's looking at me, Finally, I think to myself, this guy's recognized me, and he's going to come out and ask for an autograph and give him one. So he did come out and he said, "Aren't you Francis Ford Coppola?" That's the wonderful